Thank God you clicked on this video. Look at you getting your ish together, girl. So proud of you. You know, because if you don't get it together now, if you don't get that money under control, it just gets worse from here. Debt piles up, bills don't wait, and those poor financial habits you got going on there just gets worse over time. The good news, we can avoid all that together, but we have to start making better financial decisions today. No fluff, no excuses. So let's talk about how to be financially responsible and level up your future self for success. Let's get into it. Here are the video chapters. We're going to start off with financial habits to level up. There is so much power in having better financial habits. This can include investing. What I recommend is to start investing today. Investing early. Open up your TFSA. If you're in Canada, I think it's a Roth IRA if you're in the US. Even if you put in $100 today, that will increase over time because of compound interest. I have 3 investment accounts that I use. I have a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account. Then I have an FHSA, which is first home savings account. And then I have an RRSP, which is just my retirement savings. I don't actually have too much into that right now. I am trying to build up my TFSA and my FHSA because obviously I'm not retiring for a bit of time right now. And what I would recommend if you're just starting off investing, I would recommend to invest in big ETFs and the S&P 500. You can always count on the S&P 500 to continue and to build over the years. We've seen it time and time again where it'll dip and then it'll come right back up again. So you can trust your money in S&P 500. ETFs are when you put a portion of money into various companies that are kind of put into one stock, and your money goes into each and every one of those major companies. Next financial habit that is extremely important to have, I cannot stress this enough, you need to have an emergency fund. If you have a high-paying job or if you have a consistent and regular income, you need an emergency fund. You don't know what can happen, you need it. The general rule for an emergency fund is to have about 6 months of living expenses to live off of if something happens. Number 1, living beyond your means. Okay, I know we've all heard this before, is to live below your means, and it is true. The reason why it is a cliche is because it's a fact. You should be living below your means, okay? And a lot of people, especially in the age of consumerism, are living above their means. And I'm not saying you can't treat yourself. Always here for treating yourself. I believe 100% you deserve to treat yourself, but just make sure you have a good budget and that you can set aside money for those times when you're treating yourself or you're going on vacation. Just set that in your budget and make sure that you're not going extremely over your budget. Carrying on with that, setting financial goals is a very important step to take when you're learning about how to be financially responsible. Setting financial goals can look like paying off your credit card debt, again, saving for an emergency fund, saving for retirement, putting money into your investments, etc. And another thing would be to pay yourself first. I believe you should put money into your investments. That's the first thing. You need to cut that out of your paycheck. Take a portion of it and just throw it into investments. Don't even look at it. Set reoccurring payments. Just take it out and you don't even know it exists. Okay, it's just out of your bank account in your investments. Just take that off your plate. You don't even have to think about doing it because it's a reoccurring payment. Next is when you're ignoring your debt. Okay, now debt looks different for everybody. A lot of people carry student loans. I know myself, I have student loans, and it can be very detrimental to look at the major chunk that you owe. But the important thing to remember is that really everybody has debt, okay? It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's nothing to feel guilty over. But it is your responsibility to pay it back. Again, do as I said, have reoccurring bill payments, have reoccurring payments to just pay off that credit card, pay off that student loan. By setting reoccurring payments, it will leave the thought process out of it. You won't even have to think about doing it. It'll just be automatic and it'll be done for you. Next are some hacks that you can use to be more financially responsible and better manage your money. First things first, is the 50-30-20 rule. You've probably heard this, but it basically goes $50 but it basically goes 50% of your money is put in, you've probably heard about this, but in case you haven't, it's 50% of your net pay that goes for needs, 30% is into wants, and 20% is for savings. Personally, I like to switch the 20 and 30. I like to put 30% into savings, which for me would be investments, and then 20% into wants. And also another thing, to keep track of anything that I really want or any purchase that I'm kind of sitting on that I would like to sleep on and just really think about if I should buy that or not. I have a list of all like the frivolous shopping wants that I want. It's actually called that. And it basically shows what item I want, how much it is, and where I can find it or whatever. This is just to help me go back and actually see if I really want to purchase that or if it's just something that I saw that, ooh, that might be cute, but I wouldn't actually get a lot of use out of. Another thing, going with the 30%, the 30% that I like to have is investments. I also take a chunk of that and use it for debt repayment. Since I am in school, that 50%, I don't really need it for anything except to pay off my student loans. So that whole chunk of 50% just goes to student loans at the moment. Hack number 2 is to track your expenses. Identify any spending leaks. So I have a budget on spreadsheets, which looks like this, and it goes over how much I am spending on a daily basis. It tracks my expenses, and I have categories of where those expenses are coming from, whether it's shopping, whether it's transportation, whether I'm grabbing a coffee. And at the end of the month, it calculates my total of how much I've spent. And in the categories, it also shows where I spent the most amount of money. This just really helps with tracking how much I'm spending on things that I don't really need. So if I'm buying a lot of coffees that month, or for me it's matcha, if I'm buying a lot of matchas that month, or if I'm going out to shopping, or if I'm going out to eat a lot, or if I'm shopping a lot, I can identify what I'm spending it on and where I'm spending it so that I can readjust my budget for the next month and maybe just tighten it a little bit more on certain areas or categories. And hack number 3, I've said this before, is to automate your bills, savings, and investments. Personally, I don't have any savings that aren't being invested. I don't think that you should keep your savings in an account that's not making money for themselves. If you have a savings account that you don't touch, just move it over to your Roth IRA or TFSA, and it'll be making money for you. If you don't feel comfortable investing right away, or you're still a little confused about financial responsibility and financial literacy, I have 3 books that I recommend you reading. Number 1 is Girls That Invest. This book is phenomenal. It breaks down anything and everything about investing, what it means, how to do it, what stocks to specifically invest in. It would be The Psychology of Money. If you are at all interested in financial literacy, you would have heard about this book. It's very, very popular, but for good reason. It is a collection of short stories, basically exploring the ways that people think about money and why we are like money, the flaws, the behaviors, biases that we have that actually affect our financial outcomes, showing how our psychology kind of works for and against us when it comes to money. If you have a lot of limiting beliefs on making money or investing money or saving money or spending money or anything about money, just give Psychology of Money a read. And then book number 3 would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Again, another classic book to read, but it really dives deep into how to build self-confidence when it comes to money and goes with like a step-by-step guide when it comes to financial goal setting. As we come to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a few pointers to take with you. First steps first, open an investment account. Okay, it could be whatever version you have in where you live, but for me, it's a TFSA. This is the tax-free savings account, and it takes very little to set it up, okay? You can also set it up through like the bank that you're with. You can invest there. Next would be to educate yourself, whether it's through books, a podcast, whether you're following people on Instagram or TikTok or watching YouTube videos about how to better yourself financially and educate yourself further in this subject. Then you should create a budget that works for you. Everybody's budget is going to look different based on their financial situation. For my budget, I actually just copied one that I saw on Pinterest, so you're welcome to copy it if you'd like as well. I don't remember who I got it from, but it works well for me, so you can see if it works well for you. Remember that it doesn't matter when you start, it just matters that you're starting now. So let's get to it, everybody. Your future self will thank you for leveling up now. I love you all. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you for the next video. Bye.